2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
It's Monday the 4th of April. It's Mike in for Jamie. It's International Carrot Day. And a very happy birthday to Robert Downey Jr., Graham Norton, Karen Brady and Stephen Mulhern. Ukrainian forces have now retaken the entire area around the capital city of Kyiv, including nearby towns such as Irpin and Bucha. What they found, though, is horrifying. Bodies of executed civilians in the streets, evidence of mass graves, and in Irpin alone, more than 640 mines scattered across the area to cause maximum damage to the forces arriving. Sergei Nikiforov is a spokesman for President Zelensky and says the situation they've discovered has been truly horrific.
We found people with their hands and with their legs tied and was shot. We found half-burned bodies as if somebody tried to hide their crimes.
Meanwhile, Russia shelled Odessa over the weekend, striking a fuel depot in the critical port city. President Zelensky issued a statement on Sunday night in Russian, calling those who carried out these crimes butchers, murderers and rapists, and vowing that all of their crimes would be investigated and prosecuted. He also spoke to Fox News in the US on Saturday and continued to call for an end to war. But he's clear there can be no discussion of conceding any territory to the Russian occupiers.
We do not trade our territory. The question of territorial integrity and sovereignty is out of discussion.
The shocking scenes in Bucha and Irpin flooded social media across the weekend, with journalists, including the BBC's Jeremy Bowen, on the ground verifying the scenes. Boris has called the attacks on innocent civilians despicable, and yet more evidence of Russian war crimes. Former heavyweight boxer Vladimir Klitschko was at the scene of one of the massacres in Bucha.
This is not a special operation. This is not military objects. This is civilians. They've been shot in the head with the tied hands behind their back. This is genocide of the Ukrainian population.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the images are like a punch in the gut and that the State Department would help document any atrocities the Russian military committed against Ukrainian civilians.
Since the aggression, we've come out and said that we believe that Russian forces have committed war crimes and there needs to be accountability for it. We can't become numb to this. This is the reality of what's going on every single day as long as Russia's brutality against Ukraine continues.
Following last week's threats from Vladimir Putin to cut off oil and gas supplies to countries who refuse to pay in rubles, there's been a wave of warnings from European governments, including Germany and Austria, that there's potential for some kind of energy rationing on the horizon. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps is promising a new energy strategy later this week, but he remains confident the UK will not need to consider rationing.
No, we don't see rationing being part of our approach to this, and nor should it be, but we do have to make sure we invest in energy.
Shapps does say, though, it is essential to remove Europe's dependence on Russian energy and to cut the flow of revenue to Putin.
You can have all the sanctions in the world, but it is also very important that we're not paying that cash into their system, because that money will go to fund a war effort in Ukraine. So it's very, very important that we close that loop.
Labour Shadow Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds says we need to be prepared for the worst.
We should be making those plans and the government should be preparing, not necessarily in public, for that situation.
The USA saw another mass shooting on Sunday, this time in Sacramento, California. 6 people were killed and 9 more injured in the shooting near the Golden One Center, where the Sacramento Kings play basketball. Police have not yet arrested any suspects, and Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg says something needs to be done about gun violence.
Thoughts and prayers are not nearly enough. We must do more as a city, as a state, and as a nation. This senseless epidemic of gun violence must be addressed.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Olivia Rodrigo wins big at the Grammys, and there are tributes to a Hollywood legend.
Right after this. Welcome back. 3, 2,
It was a busy sporting weekend as the boat race returned to the Thames for the first time since 2019, and it was honours even as Cambridge's women won their race in a new record time, while Oxford men triumphed over Cambridge for the first time since 2017. There was plenty of Premier League action. Manchester United could only draw with Leicester, Brentford surprised Chelsea with a 4-1 win, and Spurs hammered Newcastle 5-1 to move up to 4th. Antonio Conte even sounded relatively cheerful after the game.
They make me happy, and because I have seen great focus, great concentration, I think a great performance. I enjoy to watch the game. I enjoy to see my team to play in this way.
The 64th Grammy Awards took place in Las Vegas on Sunday night with a video address from President Zelensky, who spoke of Ukrainian musicians in body armour instead of tuxedos and called for all the awards to help fill the silence.
On our land, we are fighting Russia, which brings horrible silence with its bombs. Fill the silence with your music. Tell the truth about the war. Support us in any way you can, but not silence.
Host Trevor Noah also paid tribute to Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins. The band had been due to perform at the ceremony and picked up 3 awards.
They are, of course, not here due to the tragic passing of their legendary drummer, Taylor Hawkins. Our thoughts go out to Taylor's family, the Foo Fighter family, and all of their fans around the globe.
The big winners on the night were jazz musician John Baptiste, Bruno Mars' new act Silk Sonic, and breakthrough artist Olivia Rodrigo, who won 2 Grammys, including Best New Artist and Best Pop Vocal Album.
I really want to dedicate this award to my parents. When I was 9 years old, I told my mom I was going to be an Olympic gymnast. She thought I was joking. So the next week when I told her I was going to win a Grammy, even though I'm sure she thought it was just a little kid pipe dream.
The death was announced on Sunday of a Hollywood legend, Estelle Harris, who died aged 93. Her distinctive voice was familiar to millions in Toy Story, where she played Mrs. Potato Head.
I'm packing you an extra pair of shoes and your angry eyes, just in case.
Estelle was also famous for her recurring role in Seinfeld as George Costanza's mother, played brilliantly against Jerry Stiller as George's dad. May her memory be a blessing.
So they didn't give you a piece of cake. Big deal.
It is a big deal. You're supposed to serve cake after a meal. I'm sorry, it's impolite.
Not impolite. It's stupid, that's what it is.
Your father is absolutely right. We're sitting there like idiots, drinking coffee without a piece of cake.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.